I don't want you no more, so you can say what you want, but I don't care. I see the lies in your cold stare. I know what it is, no more than aware. I don't want you no more, so you can say what you want, but I don't care. I see the lies in your cold stare. I know what it is, no more than aware. Never seen it coming like a text to the blue. Now I'm sitting in the train station talking to you. Wonder if any word that you say.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of Two Beers with Ben. I'm your host, and you were just listening to the song Cold Stare by my man Jay Lee, who is a Scotland-based rapper, producer, and events manager. All right, Jay, if you'll tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're sipping on, we can get started.
Yeah. So first off, thanks for having me. My name's Jay Lee, as you said, a Scottish hip hop artist here in Glasgow. And yeah, actually, what I'm sipping on is it's a Peroni, and it's a 0% Peroni as well, man. So big up all the people that are sober here. It's a nice beer though. It's a nice beer. So yeah, been sober for a few years now, and the alcohol free ones are getting me through, man. So yeah, thanks for having me, bro.
All right, well, I will be sipping on Change of Heart IPA. It is a New Zealand-style IPA. It is 6.6 ABV, and it's from Bell's Brewing. So, why don't you tell us how you guys started in music?
Yeah, so basically, I've been into loads of different types of music ever since I was really young. All I can remember is loads of different kinds of music coming out the house. So like Ozzy Osbourne, Rod Stewart, all these kinds of things, man. But my musical journey started when I was around 13 years of age, kind of just getting into like Eminem, all the normal kind of rap people that people know, Tupac, Biggie, all that kind of stuff. And along that way, I just started kind of writing my own lyrics, just to no beat at that time. Just kind of finding my feet, finding my voice. And then, yeah, I started recording off a phone and things like that. And then that just kind of progressed to me reaching out to different people, getting in the studio. And then, yeah, having my first song recorded when I was about 14, where like a social worker recorded me way back then in his car, in a car park. And yeah, that's how one of my first songs was made. It was called The Place, and it was all just about Glasgow City and things that were happening around me at the time and things like that. So yeah, that's how I got started in music.
What was your childhood like, and where did you grow up in Scotland?
Yeah, so actually, I grew up in Ireland. So when I was about 6 months old, I moved from Glasgow to Ireland when my parents decided to move us over there because my dad's mum and dad were over there. I think it was not long after my dad's mum passed away. So we moved over there when I was about 6 months. So I grew up in Ireland, countryside, uh, dirt bikes, motorbikes, like, yeah, all that kind of stuff. Chilling in the forest and all that kind of stuff. And then around 2010, when I think I was like 10, 12, we moved back to Glasgow just after my mum's brother Sammy passed away. So yeah, we ended up moving back to Glasgow. And yeah, growing up in Ireland, it was cool. It was different from Glasgow. So there's like more countryside, where there is kind of, as you would call them, projects, but we would call them schemes over here. But there was also like that countryside vibe as well. So yeah, I got to have a bit of both. And then obviously moving to Glasgow, it's really like city and rush hour and stuff like that. So yeah, a different way of growing up, but feel blessed to have had those both experiences, if you get me.
I gotcha. What sort of music was playing in the house when you were growing up?
Yeah, so as I said before, like lots of Black Sabbath. So my mum's really big Ozzy Osbourne fan, AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, all that kind of stuff. Also, my dad's really into like Rod Stewart and other music like that. But also growing up in a household with just all sisters, there was loads of like cringe stuff. Do you know what I mean? So the boy bands, the NSYNCs, the Backstreet Boys, the Gareth Gates, all that kind of stuff as well. And then yeah, even like growing up, there was a lot of like dance music at certain time of my life as well, and a genre called trance music, where it's basically the same as dance music, Tiesto and stuff like that. So yeah, there was loads of different musics around the house when I was growing up.
Well, out of all the different genres of music that you were exposed to, why did you choose rap and hip hop to be the form of music to express yourself?
I just think hip hop spoke to me on like a different level to any of the other music. So it's like really relatable to me. And obviously, when I found hip hop and first got into hip hop, I would have been around 13 or a few years before that. But obviously, the adolescent stage of your life, growing up, Eminem, rebellious kind of ways, and then yeah, even NWA and all that kind of stuff just really spoke to me on a different level. And then it was just kind of like a natural progression from listening to that kind of stuff, just wanting to be able to rap myself and kind of mimic those kind of artists, but just from my own level and speaking about things that are actually happening around me, and instead of just like yeah, properly mimicking them. You know what I mean?
So is rap and hip hop the only music that you create?
No, yeah, I don't really try and put like a label on it, but like, yeah, there's lots of rap and hip hop that I create, but there's also like a genre in England as well called grime. I'm not sure if you've heard about that, but it basically came from garage music. So yeah, it's kind of got Jamaican roots and stuff like that. So it's really hard bass. It's faster tempo, so it's 140 BPM instead of like hip hop's like 90 BPM, sometimes slower. Trap's like 120, but grime's like 140. So I make some like trap and grime music as well. And yeah, I've been known to do bits of singing, like on my All or Nothing, my debut album. I've got some singing tracks on there, just kind of trying stuff out. I've also like performed with a band quite a few times, performed with an orchestra quite a few times, been commissioned to do different pieces of work with orchestras and stuff like that as well, man. So yeah, it's mostly hip hop, but I don't try and like stay at that genre. Just kind of whatever I make on the day in the studio. To be honest,
All right. How did growing up in Scotland and in Ireland shape your sound and your perspective on music?
yeah, I think it shaped it a great deal because, as I said, there was lots of different genres happening at the time when I was growing up. So, as I said, there's like UK garage, which is very like singing melodic kind of genre that was happening that I wasn't really like aware of at the time. The same with grime and stuff like that. But yeah, growing up in like Scotland and Ireland, I feel grateful to have grown up in the time that I've grown up in because there was a variety of genres. So if you liked more like party dance music, you could easily find that and it's easily accessible. Or if you like me and you like more hip hop kind of stuff, then that was all really there. Do you know what I mean? And like the time I was growing up, everybody has CDs and CD players and stuff as well. So I feel I'm kind of like the tail end of that generation that grew up with all those kind of stuff, and I wasn't really well off for money, to be honest. So we were kind of a bit behind everybody else. So even when the computers and stuff like that was coming in, uh, I was still kind of on the burning CDs and making mixtapes and stuff like that. So yeah, I think like growing up within the UK shaped my sound quite a lot.
What was the moment in your life that you decided to make music more than just a hobby?
Uh, it was probably like at the time of my life where like I was homeless and I was like in and out of supported accommodations, hostels. Probably in America you would call them like halfway houses and stuff like that. So yeah, when I was from like 17 till 19, uh, didn't have a job, was homeless for a bit and stuff like that. And music was like a really good thing for me to focus on. It's like it kept me doing stuff that I shouldn't really been doing and things like that. So yeah, probably that time of my life, I really needed music, and it was like a turning point where I had some people around me that have been doing music for a long time, and they were kind of like a good influence on me to look up to them and go like, wow, they've been doing this on a kind of like a high level, supporting some of the amazing rappers and stuff like that. So yeah, at that time in my life, it was really crucial to have those role models within my own community as well, because obviously it's easy to look up to Eminem and stuff, but that's not really obtainable to you or the Wu-Tang Clan or whoever else you want to really use an example. But having people within my own circle that was kind of close to me and relatable to me, that kind of helped me, man. So music's in many different ways. It saved my life and kept me doing things I shouldn't be doing, and kept me out of jail and stuff. Because it's like, if I get to jail, then I'll miss this gig that I've got coming up, or if I get to jail, then I won't be able to jump in the studio and record with this rapper that I like. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, music's been a savior for me, to be honest.
So, around age 17, age 19, was there anyone that really pushed you and encouraged you to pursue music at this level?
Yeah. So like when I was 13, I met one of my longtime friends and partner in rhyme. We're a duo together called CCTV. So I met my pal Jam Harvey when I was like 13, and we both kind of started making music together. We had like that real bond because he was getting into Tupac and Biggie, and I was kind of getting into them around the same time. And our friend group was mostly into dance music and stuff, so that's the kind of thing that we had in common. But yeah, after a couple of years, after I was writing, recording, and stuff like that as well, we branched out and we're looking for studios and stuff. So there ended up being like a radio station within our local community, and we were just sitting talking, and we were like, there must be microphones in there we can use, because like we had record off iPhones and phones and stuff like that before. So we just kind of wanted to take it to the next level and do what like you see in the music videos or what you see in movies, and you're like, we want to go to a real studio. So we ended up meeting a guy where we went into the record to the radio station, and one of the guys that worked there at the time was like, I'll introduce you to my colleague Steg. And just straight away I was like, are you Steg G? Because at the time I had already heard like a song that was from the local area with a rapper that I liked, and he had produced it. So it just ended up coming together that we met him. So yeah, around 17 to 19, like we had met Steg, and we had got in the studio with him, and we were writing and recording, doing some gigs here and there. So yeah, Steg G was like a great mentor to me, and also like the freestyle master as well. And like I said before, just having people that's within my local community that I could look up to has been like a great help to me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Speaking of community, is there a community around you for your style of music?
Yeah. There's the Scottish hip hop community is growing daily. So when we first started like releasing music and doing our own gigs and stuff was around like 2015 times. So when we first came on the scene, there was probably maybe like 20 to 40 rappers within Glasgow and Edinburgh, and a few in Dundee and stuff like that as well, man. But now there seems to be well over 100 rappers and releasing songs and stuff like that. So yeah, the community that I'm involved in, like I said, it seems to be growing every day. There's gigs happening, there's music videos, there's freestyle platforms, and yeah, there's so much stuff happening within my own community. But obviously then you can step outside of Glasgow and you go to London, which is a couple hours on the train. Then there's the London scene that's there, and yeah, other cities that's not so far away.
How has your hometown influenced your sound and your mindset?
Yeah, my hometown, I can give all the praises and thanks to Glasgow, and more specifically Govan. I come from like a ex shipbuilding community, so there used to be like a big shipbuilding uh, warehouse, and all the men would work there and stuff like that. So it's a really like working class area, and obviously growing up at the time, you don't really know, but there's like a lot of great history that come from Govan. So people like Alex Ferguson, which is like he used to manage Manchester United and stuff like that. He came from there, and Mary Barber, and so many different people that are like renowned people basically came from Govan. And then obviously you've got Billy Connolly coming from Glasgow. Just so that helped shaped my sound unbeknownst to me at the time. Do you know what I mean? I'm just writing and recording and doing all that stuff and rapping about the gritty side of life that I see and how I'm living and how I'm growing up. But then kind of, yeah, even kind of sinking in more now. Do you know what I mean? Just doing interviews like this and people asking me, and it's kind of, it hits me more than very grateful to of like growing up in Glasgow and being around all this kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because yeah, my hometown's like really shaped me and go behind me in certain ways as well. Do you know what I mean? So big ups to Govan and big ups to Glasgow.
How would you explain your music to someone who's never heard it before?
Okay, so I'd say my music is like a mix of the gritty, the hard side of life, mixed with some like melodies as well. So sometimes melodic, sometimes hard and aggressive. It's thought provoking. It's challenging stereotypes. It makes you think about stuff, and I kind of just try and twist things and tell somebody one point of view, but then at the other time I'll kind of hit on the other point of view and give people like an overview of what I'm experiencing and stuff like that. So yeah, the music's the harsh side of reality, but it's also melodic, thought provoking, and powerful as well. Talking about topics and things that are happening in my local area and reporting on the schemes or the projects as you would call them.
Which one of your songs would you play for a person after you gave them that explanation? Which one of your songs best defines who you are as an artist and your style of music?
Uh, Possibly Can't Forget. That's like it's a hard hitting song all about like background of being homeless and stuff like that. But then I would need to get that maybe need to say like a CCTV one as well. Do you know what I mean? Like my the duo that I'm in. Do you know what I mean? So that's like a really melodic style and stuff like that as well. So we've got a track called Life on Tick, and it's all about living life on tick, which is basically yeah, I don't really know how to explain it to American, but like life on tick, like when you get something that you need to pay for at a later date. Do you know what I'm saying? Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
Layaway.
life on loan, yeah, like a layaway life on loan kind of thing. So yeah, it's talking about that, but it's very melodic and it's got a nice video to it as well. Very story driven, that song. Where we're rapping about having to rob like a post office, which is kind of like a bank. If you know what a post office is, and yeah, the full song's a story on how we had to do that and doing it, and then yeah, the video kind of portrays that as well, man. So if you get a chance after this, definitely check out CCTV Life on Tick.
All right. How has your artistic identity evolved over the years?
Yeah, it's evolved a lot. So when I first started writing music, it was like smoking weed and woman and drinking and stuff like that. But then obviously as I've evolved as a person and I don't smoke weed anymore, don't drink anymore, it's kind of evolved to be more topical, be more like community orientated and speaking about issues that are happening within my local area and the world in general. It's not really political driven, but some parts of it is like that. And I would have to say like Ice Cube's one of my big influences as well. Do you know what I mean? Like especially his earlier stuff. So he's like very political and challenging beliefs and stereotypes and stuff like that as well. So yeah, I think like my musical identity has definitely shifted within the last 3 years of me being sober and kind of getting my life together more. I'm being able to kind of express myself on different topics that are happening within the world. So yeah, I'm just kind of enjoying that, to be honest, as well.
You'd think Ice Cube would enjoy the music you create.
Yeah, definitely. I think he would, man. I think he would love it. Like he would love the accent. I think some like Ice Cube would be surprised. Well, maybe not Ice Cube would be surprised, but I think like a lot of rappers would be surprised that we've got a really thriving scene here in Scotland and like even all the other pockets of the UK. They have really thriving rap scenes, and it surprises me sometimes when I hear like Indian rap or whatever and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, that's mad, or Japanese rap, and obviously it makes so much sense, but unless you've seen it, you've heard it before, the first time you hear it, you're like, that's crazy, man. The actual they rap and they're actually good at it as well. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think Ice Cube would like the music as something different to for him to listen to, and yeah, I think he would definitely approve.
Oh, excuse me. I've heard you mention Eminem as well. So, have you reached out to either Eminem or Ice Cube to say, "Hey, here I am. Here's a song. Let me know what you think."
Not yet, not yet, but I'm I'm kind of involved with like co-promoting events a lot in Glasgow. So I think each event I'm co-promoting, I'm kind of getting closer to the likes of Eminem and Ice Cube. So you never know. One day, like I can be close to them. So I've met people like KRS-One and stuff like that as well. And like I've not been able to play in my music, but I've had conversations with these people, and I think yeah, you never know. Each year, I'm getting closer to those kind of people and making those connections and yeah, achieving that.
Well, you never know. You ought to reach out on social media and see what they say.
Yeah, definitely.
Just, just for something to do. I mean, the odds of them getting back to you are slim, but
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
you never know. You never
yeah.
know. It'd be worth a try.
Yeah, it's true. I think as well, like seeing like just going to gigs and seeing people face to face in real life is really underrated as well. Like you could say, for instance, Ice Cube, you see him at a gig, maybe you just get a meet and greet in it, then you've seen Ice Cube, and then if you shoot him a DM, he might answer. Do you know what I mean? Like I've met KRS-One, so maybe the next time I see him at a gig, he might remember who I am, or I comment on his video and he might know who I am. So yeah, even like separate from social media, that's like a really underrated way of getting attention. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if you're familiar with like Bone Thugs and Harmony, but like they just went
Yeah.
up to Easy and they're just like, what's happening? They're phoning him, rapping on the phone to him, and then he was playing in their city, so they just went up, pushed her way backstage, and eventually got talking to DJ Yella and then Easy. So stories like that are inspiring, and like if anybody's watching and they think that's the realms of possibility, that stuff can definitely happen. There's more crazy things that's happened in this off than a guy from Scotland meeting Eminem. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
well, I think it's like there's a thing like the rule of sixths or sevens, where it's like you're seven people away from like the people that you really want to be around. I don't know the correct terminology, but it's like you're seven people away from like your actual idols. Do you know what I mean? And yeah,
Yeah.
much stranger things has happened than that as well, man. So anybody watching, keep the faith, man. You never know. You can meet your idol and get the things you want in it. You know what I mean? It's possible.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd push my way backstage to meet my idol, but I see what you're saying. I know
So
here in America that is not going to work.
yeah, yeah,
They,
security is a bit tough here in America, innit? Like they've got extra weapons as well that they don't really have much over here as well. So yeah, that's
oh
not
yeah,
a smart move. But who's your idol anyway? Who's your idol?
as far as music goes,
Yeah,
that, that's an interesting question. I listen to so many different genres of music.
yeah.
Uh, it would be it would be hard for me to nail one down.
Let's go for
I
top three.
like
Top
well,
three.
I like as far as current uh musicians, I like I like Keith Urban, Jason Aldean as far as, mainstream music goes. Um I like local music. I listen to a lot of the radio station I listen to pretty much all the time here in Nashville
Yep,
is a indie station, independent station.
yep,
So they play pretty much what they want.
sure.
They play a lot of different genres. They play a lot of um, independent artists
Yep.
is what they play.
Mhm.
They do play mainstream artists, but mostly independent artists. So as far as mainstream artists, I like Keith Urban. I like Leonard Skinner. I like, of course, Metallica,
Yeah,
Motley Crue. I mean, good gosh, Papa Roach.
nice.
Oh, I could go on, but those are mainstream artists that a lot of people know. I like indie artists that I've interviewed on the show.
Mhm, mhm.
Artists I've heard around town, just people that like you, people who are trying to make their way and do it their way.
Yeah.
So I w- I like a little bit of everything. I like the classics. I like pretty much I like music.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
it's music and it's real and it's not some bullshit that somebody wrote that or somebody sings and has no idea what they're singing, it's just words in front of them.
Yeah.
I don't really like that because you can see through that. You can
yeah.
tell the artist that's singing this song did not experience these things.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's a lot of manufactured pop within the mainstream music, and like people that are younger, they can't really see through that. Do you know what I mean? So they're just happy singing along. But I think once you become a bit older, and maybe you've listened to more music, and as you grow older, you become more of a connoisseur of music, and you can feel vibes more, and it's not so. Uh, easy for them to deceive you with that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm the same, man. I like anything with a vibe. I try and not just stick to hip hop. Do you know what I mean? I go to different genres as well. So like the Doors, and do you know what I mean? Like all those different kinds of musics as well. Obviously, growing up in a household where there was loads of different music, I think I'm kind of grateful to have that. And then I'll even delve into like a bit of 80s pop as well, and a bit of that kind of stuff, just to, you know what I mean? You have to kind of cover it all. A bit of punk rock. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you would never think looking at me, but yeah, I'm into a bit of punk rock as well, man.
Okay. As far as punk rock goes, who's probably uh normally I would say who are your top three
Yeah,
punk rock bands?
yeah.
But let's go with your number one. Who's your number one punk
Okay,
rock band?
okay. So yeah, so I think it would need to be like somebody like the Sex Pistols, and everybody knows them. Like the music was impacted, very impactful. So yeah, I'd need to go with the Sex Pistols, and just like obviously I never grew up in that time, but just looking back, it's very like nostalgic for me, and it's music that made impact. Punk rock is very similar to hip hop because it's like rebellious music, not the same as in chords and sound, but the full ethos behind the genre, how it became what it is today. Do you know what I mean? Like NWA and then the Sex Pistols, completely separate, but the thing that they're pushing against the powers that be and stuff like that, and giving it people that are from working class backgrounds on lower class backgrounds, giving them a voice. That's the most important thing that I take away from punk rock. And it's like I don't like all of it, do you know what I mean? But like people like the Sex Pistols, the Damned. There's an Irish band called Stiff Little Fingers, and they're talking about like alternative all star. So they're like, yeah, talking about obviously when there was the troubles in Ireland, and Britain invaded and things like that. So yeah, I really relate with punk rock a lot because of the values, the ethos, and how it became what it is. Really.
So do you think a lot of hip hop artists just worldwide listen to other genres other than hip hop and rap? And do you think the music they listen to outside those genres, hip hop and rap, has a major influence on the music they create?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Even like if you want to take a mainstream one, for example, like Dr. Dre. So they're obviously listening to a lot of like P Funk, James Brown, and stuff like that. And then they started to sample that music into their own music. And then that's how they came up with the term G Funk, which is gangster funk instead of P Funk. So obviously Parliament, Funkadelic, all these kinds of acts. That's what they were listening to. And at the time, that was groundbreaking stuff. Like these people were talking from the perspective of like the aliens and the invading Earth and stuff like that. And even now, when you listen to that, it's like an orchestra for your ears of the senses. Do you know what I mean? And breaking the boundaries of that, and not just rapping or like singing like I am this person from this perspective. You can go and you can rap about being an alien, or you can rap about being a bug, or you can rap about this perspective of a dog and all that kind of stuff. That's really what I'm into, kind of bending the ways of music, where I still do rap about what's happening in my community, but I like different concepts and very conceptual driven within my newer stuff. But yeah, I think even just Dr. Dre as an example, the G funk and the P funk, and then just kind of merging that into one. That's a great example of how the music you listen to does definitely influence the music that you then in turn make.
All right. Let's talk about the Scottish hip hop scene.
Yep.
How would you describe the current Scottish hip hop scene to someone who has never experienced it?
So I would say like it's energetic. It's filled with loads of great people, like very community driven, very community orientated. So there's no commercialization within the scene yet. There's no record deals. There's not much funding. There is some funding that people get. I don't get any funding. I just do it fully independent, fully DIY, and have control of my own stuff. But yeah, it's still like it's been gone from since like the early 90s, but it's still progressing and finding its feet, finding its sound as well. Obviously, we're not rapping in American accents, we're rapping in our full Scottish accents, and producers are putting in time to the beats to kind of develop our own sound as well. But I would say it's a nice scene full of lots of nice people. There's so much stuff happening in terms of gigs and festivals and people making beats and stuff like that. And I think it's a great time for anybody out there listening to get into the Scottish hip hop scene because, like I said, it's not commercial, it's fully independent, it's grassroots, it's for the people, by the people. It's talking about stuff that happens in our local area. So yeah, if you want to know and what it feels like to be in Glasgow or Scotland, you can go and you can listen to my debut album, All or Nothing, and that can kind of tell you about a bit about that, or just anybody in general within the Scottish hip hop scene. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, that'll kind of give you an idea of what Glasgow's like. So yeah, we always say like we're like scheme reporters. So this is Scheme Hing. This is me and my friend's brand, and so my friend, the freestyle master's got a lyric, and he says, "Down south they call them projects, or down south the US call them projects. Down south they call them estates. That little piece of ground where we can be found any hour of day." So the US call them projects, down south they call them housing estates, and up in Glasgow we call them housing schemes. So that's the different definition. And yeah, we always say we're just reporting what's happening in the housing schemes that we live, but it's good to show it to other people, and you can kind of get a taste of what it's like to grow up in these places in Glasgow. And yeah, check out the Scottish hip hop scene because it's still grassroots, it's still independent for now.
What the hell? Well, who are some artists that we should check out?
Yeah, so first I would need to give a big massive shout out to my bro Jam Harvey. He's in a duo with me called CCTV, and yeah, his music's really good. Like he's got a song called Money Talks, which is all about the gentrification of our area. So it's about like these big businesses coming in, and they're buying over the shipbuilding communities that we used to be in. So once the shipbuilders kind of shut down, there was just loads of spare ground lying for 20 to 30 years. We used to all drink on that spare ground, but once these kind of big mainstream companies seen that there was big pieces of ground where they could come in and buy and put private houses and shops and how they could capitalise on it, then they done that. So he's got a song called Money Talks, and it's all about the gentrification of Govan. I need to give a shout out to my man Pro Focus as well. He's like a very, very talented rapper from Scotland. Like his flow's on the next level. Like he's one of the best rappers within the country. And yeah, need to give a shout out to Steg G and the Freestyle Master as well. They're like the godfathers of Glasgow rap. So they were like some of the first people that was ever doing Scottish hip hop. So they had an album out, a full vinyl album out in 1993 called But We Are Different, and that was arguably one of the first Scottish hip hop songs where they're using their own accent and they're rapping over proper hip hop beats, no like break beats or anything like that, like proper hip hop professionally recorded in a studio and stuff like that as well. And Scottish hip hop's got a rich history as well. We acts like Two Tone and Sace and the B&MCs and stuff like that. They've been doing it since the 90s, and yeah, slowly working their way up, man. So yeah, that's just some of the people I would definitely recommend the people to check out.
What makes the Scottish rap, or excuse me, what makes Scottish rap unique compared to US rap or UK rap?
I think obviously the obvious one would be like the accent, the tone, and the way that we deliver it. So, yeah, and I think as well, like if you've never been to Scotland, you don't really know, but it's like Scot each part of Scotland has its own dialect and its own accent. So I'm from Glasgow. My accent is completely different from somebody that's in Edinburgh's accent. And then somebody in Edinburgh's accent is completely different from somebody that's in Aberdeen's accent. And then vice versa, and so on and so on. Do you know what I mean? So it's like it's very diverse, all the pockets of Scottish hip hop, and also the places that we've grew up in made us have different like perspective of things and stuff like that as well. So yeah, that's just some of the reasons why I think it's unique within the Scottish hip hop scene.
Are there any misconceptions people have about hip hop artists from Scotland that you would like to address?
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes I think Scottish hip hop gets took of like as a joke sometimes. So there's been a few artists before that do kind of like comedy rap. Uh, do you know what I'm saying? Where they're just joking and oh, iron brew and haggis and kilts and all that kind of stuff, and it's funny. But then like the mainstream public see that are not really into Scottish hip hop, and then they think that that's what Scottish hip hop is. Do you know what I mean? So it'd be the equivalent of somebody hearing Eminem and think that's what like early Eminem and thinking that's what hip hop is. Where it's like that is definitely hip hop, but hip hop is also like a Wu-Tang Clan and DMX and Bone Thugs and Harmony and some serious stuff as well. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think sometimes Scottish hip hop gets took for a joke by the general public that don't really know like this is actually real stuff that's happening that we're reporting on, and it's not just joke comedy kind of stuff. Like people pour their hearts and their souls into this kind of stuff. Like even myself, for obviously my debut album All or Nothing, this is like 12 tracks that I produced, recorded and mixed and mastered myself. And yeah, this is like a piece of my soul that's in this project. So it talks about like all my homeless situation, getting sober. It talks about relationship issues. It talks about all that kind of stuff. And that's kind of what I want to present to the public and let them know like Scottish hip hop is a serious genre as well as it can be funny and stuff like that at times. And it's definitely like a big contender standing next to like other scenes within the UK. So like London and Manchester, like Scotland can definitely stand next to those scenes and represent well. And yeah, just even on that note, I've teamed up with like a London promoter. I met him when I was on tour in London, and we're actually setting a gig up in Glasgow. It's going to be the 26th of July, where we're going to get like five of the best Scottish MCs, and we're going to put them through different challenges on stage. And yeah, the one that gets through that stage gets to go down to London to showcase their skills and represent for Scotland. And then if they get through the London round, the winner gets to go to Montreal in Canada, all expenses paid, and they get to represent Scotland in Canada. And I think things like that are great for Scottish hip hop because it's taking it to a different level. It's taking it in front of different people and letting people know, like, yeah, we can stand next to the big dogs here. Do you know what I mean? Although our scene might have not been going for longer, it's not had as much investment, it's not had as much support by labels, it's not been commercialized and put in front of the right audience yet, but it's definitely building to be up there. So yeah, that's the misconception a lot of people have of Scottish hip hop is it's a gimmick and it's jokey and stuff like that as well. But yeah, all the artists that I've mentioned, like Pro Focus, Jam Harvey, Steg Gene, the Freestyle Master, Mog, and so on and so on. They're all like serious artists, and if you listen to them, you can kind of get a proper taste of what Scottish hip hop's like.
So, how do hip hop artists in Scotland promote their music outside of their community?
Yeah, so yeah, just many different ways. So obviously, like performing is a really big one as well. Like myself, I'm just off my first ever tour. So to accompany the album, I done the All or Nothing tour where I went to multiple different places in the UK, Manchester, Newcastle, Birmingham, Leicester, London, and yeah, I showcased my talent in those different cities. And yeah, like not many rappers have done that before, to be honest. Just like fully independent tour, no funding, no backing, just taking my own money. And every single day I done was just myself solo, going to these cities, meeting with these other communities, and kind of getting in about their scene, showcasing my talent. And also, like, yeah, music videos are a really great way to kind of get your music out there as well. So yeah, I've got the 3, soon to be 4 music videos out from the All or Nothing project. Probably by the time this is out, the next one, Never Again, will probably be out as well. And yeah, that's just some of the methods that we use to kind of get our stuff out there. But obviously, of course, social media is a really big one as well. But I think for myself, nothing beats that face-to-face interaction, meeting people, and just going to these cities and asking them, "Oh, have you heard Scottish hip hop? Like, what's your thoughts on it?" And then obviously representing Scottish hip hop myself, and doing it justice with a set of music that I do, kind of changing people's perception from what we were talking about before. If they think it's a joke and stuff like that, then we can kind of change that and let them know that, you know what I mean, we're serious. So yeah, that's just some of the ways people promote their music around here.
Well, we were talking earlier about independent radio.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
is there a way for independent hip hop artists in Scotland to get any kind of airplay for their music?
Yeah, yeah. So like I mentioned at the start of the interview, like when I was first coming up, there was a radio station in my local area, which is like a community radio station run by volunteers and stuff like that. And yeah, they're called Sunny Govan Radio, and they're like a big supporter of Scottish hip hop. The guy I was speaking about earlier on, Steg G, he helps to run that radio station as well. So obviously, yeah, he helps to push and champion Scottish hip hop. And then yeah, there's like loads of other radio stations even in rural Scotland, and places like Fort William. That's not just Glasgow and Edinburgh's the main cities, but there's also loads of rural places where they have radio stations and stuff like that. And then yeah, just like as of recently, there's like funding and stuff has been available to people to kind of put their music out there that way. And gigs that are happening, and yeah, loads of things have kind of been popping up as of recent years. Do you know what I mean? In terms of radio stations and podcasts and things like this, you can kind of jump on. Do you know what I mean? But yet again, I think it's still just in the early stages of that, and there's not really those figureheads as of yet that are properly doing it and that's accessible. Do you know what I mean? But it's
Yeah.
still kind of grassroots. But the more we go, there's things that are going to present themselves, like things like this, which is was really cool to share your story on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. How has the hip hop scene changed since you first got involved?
Yeah, so I think it's changed a great deal. So when I was first getting into it, there was like, I don't think there was Instagram back then. There might have been, but I wasn't really on it. So yeah, when I first got into it, it was most like, it wasn't really TikTok driven. TikTok wasn't about then. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like as online as it is now. And there wasn't really that many gigs happening as there is right now. So obviously myself putting on my own gigs and stuff like that. One of the reasons that I started doing that was just there wasn't really enough gigs happening in Glasgow. Do you know what I mean? Or if there was gigs happening, it was just like a few main promoters that were putting that on. And if you weren't kind of within their circle, then you wouldn't get put on the gig kind of thing. So yeah, I just kind of bypassed that and started putting on my own gigs with Scheme Hang and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of how I got around that. But yeah, it's changed a great deal. Even like I said earlier on as well, like the volume of rappers and the how many people that are rapping now, and different singers and stuff like that, and even all the different pockets of the scenes that are happening are kind of merging together as well. So yeah, just within the hip hop scene, it's changed a great deal, and it's just getting better. Do you know what I mean? It's just getting better.
Well, what other improvements need to be made in the scene, in your opinion, to promote it?
So I think like more like business and more um regimented and more like planned things need to be happening of a higher standard, where it's good to have like lots of grassroots stuff, and that's like what I do, fully grassroots, funded just from myself. Do you know what I mean? But I think there needs to be more planning, and there needs to be more investment from other companies. So, for instance, like in London, there's record labels where you can just go in there and you just try and sell them your album. Do you know what I mean? I know some people, they've got like single deals from these record labels. They get like £10,000, and then that's their single deal, and they get a budget to do a video and stuff like that. There's nothing really like that up here. Do you know what I mean? So you have to be fully independent up here. There's no other choice. Where in other places within the UK, there's ways that you can go about it, where you can just go and present yourself to these companies, and if they like your stuff, or you're getting numbers on social media, then you can kind of get somewhere. But yeah, I think there needs to be more these companies kind of popping up. More funding needs to be available, and more people that are business minded, and not just everybody that just wants to be a rapper, or they just want to be the face of the thing. I think we need more people that are just happy to like be a manager, or happy to be a booking agent, or happy to be an events manager. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, not just wanting to be the face of the thing. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's just some ways that I think if we had more of those kind of characters within the scene, then it would get better. Like if we had a Suge Knight or Jerry Heller of our scene, do you know what I mean? The people that would be, obviously they're bad examples because they're very corrupt and all that, but you know what I'm trying to say. If we had more people that are just focused on kind of getting us out there and pushing it, instead of wanting to be on the TV and all in the videos.
Yeah. Well, here in Nashville, especially in the summertime, we have live music everywhere, 7 days a week. I mean, there's live music everywhere. Do you think the hip hop scene is big enough in Scotland that you guys could put on small festivals and maybe play certain venues on the weekend and actually fill the space?
Yeah, definitely. So I've done like 2 day mini festivals myself. Like I've been saying, fully independent now. So I'm just like, I teamed up with a guy called Sovereign Scott Network, and he had like a sound system, and he came through from Edinburgh, and we done it for like 2 day mini festival. I had 20 acts on each day, and we done that in Glasgow Green, just a full free event for the community. We had like a really good turnout, and I think we done that like 2 to 3 years in a row. And just as of recently, I've teamed up with two guys, and we've set up like a community interest company, which is kind of like a charity thing. And yeah, we're looking at getting funding to do that again, kind of thing, but more like professional vibe, where artists can get paid and things like that. So we're trying to move more professional with it. And yeah, obviously I run my own events, so like I do promotion and co-promotion with other people as well, where I've been a part, like stage manage like bigger acts like Obi Trice, and I've supported Mob Deep and things like that as well. So that's been good. And like I said, I think it's definitely building, and I think we can definitely fill rooms and put on festivals and stuff like that. But yeah, again, it just needs to kind of be professional and done with the right people to make it a success. So it's not just like a bunch of people just drinking and just having fun, when of course we want that to happen, but we also want to push the music in the right way, and things like that as well. And even just another point as well, where like Nashville, that's like a lot, like very, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like country driven. Do you know what I mean? So there's loads of country music happening there and stuff, and band and guitar music. Yeah.
It is. It seems like the world sees Nashville as only country music because that is the biggest thing we got going. But man, let me tell you, the independent scene in this city is massive. And they play everything: blues, rock, pop, funk. We got spoken word. I mean, the art scene in Nashville is so much bigger than what people see, because all the television shows and music videos and everything that a lot of people see coming out of this city are country music based. But
Yeah.
there's so much more here and in
So
Memphis
is there like a
than
hip hop scene? Well, I know there's a bit like 3 6 Mafia came from Memphis and the full crunk and Dirty South movement back in the day. So I know there's some Memphis rappers there, but is there like the hip hop scene in Nashville in particular?
well, that there is a hip hop scene in Nashville, but it is it's really small. And the reason it's
Yes.
small is because there's not a lot of interest.
Mm, mm.
I think the reason there's not a lot of interest is because this city really thrives on people coming here for our festivals.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
And they really promote our festivals. Um,
As the country. It's like the gimmick, and it
yeah,
kind of what you're saying. It kind of goes back to my point of what I was going to make, where it's like hip hop isn't really like socially as accepted as band music is. Do you know what I mean? So even here in Scotland and Glasgow and Edinburgh in general, there's loads of open mic happening for bands, and there's loads of things happening for bands, but it's not fully hip hop driven. And I think that's the problem with Nashville as well. And even when I go to like normal festivals, just on a side note, I work as a security guard, so I work at like loads of different festivals, all the big ones, Glastonbury, Reading Festival, and things like that. And when I go to these festivals, there's lots of band music. There's everything but hip hop. There's wee bits of hip hop here and there to keep the certain generation happy, but it's just like the point we were making all our own. I think even hip hop in general, it's not always really took serious. It's just like that's for the youngsters or it's for the certain the demographic of people. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
yeah, I think that's one of the problems where there's loads of things happening here, but it's not always hip hop driven. It's more like band or like there's a big reggae scene and things like that, but there's not really much happening for Scotland and if or Scottish hip hop, and if there is, it's more people like myself and a few other people that's kind of on the ground pushing that. Do you know what I mean? And same as Nashville, the things that get the commercial push are more like band driven and singer songwriters, which is it's kind of sad because hip hop's like what we were saying earlier on with the punk rock thing. It's like it's rebellion. It's talking about social impact of issues and the social impact of prime ministers and as you would say like presidents being in control and it's kind of like a response to social deprivation and things like that as well. And yeah, it's kind of sad it's overlooked sometimes, I suppose.
okay. Well, do you think in Scotland that you could put an event together that had punk rock music, hip hop music, and maybe rock music,
Yeah.
and have a hip hop artist come up after a punk rock artist and
Yeah.
do their, and you could kind of blend it to where everybody involved in, I guess, the event could play off each other. And then you could build fans from different genres and you could pull the hip hop artist and the punk rock artist kind of together and bring their fam. In
Yeah.
my head, it sounds a lot better than the way it's coming out of my mouth.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
know one thing here in Nashville that I've noticed when indie artists go rent these venues, they'll have maybe a couple of bands open up for them that are friends of theirs, not necessarily in the exact same genre of music they are,
Yeah.
but people that their fans alike say,
Yeah.
"Hey, I know you're in a different genre of music, but I think my fans would gravitate towards what you do because there is a similarity, even though it is a completely different genre." And I've gone to venues like that and walked out and looked up artists on my phone, like, who is this person? I enjoyed that music, but that is not something I would see myself listening to.
Yeah.
Then I subscribe to that artist and I start listening to the music, I'm like, okay, wow, I like this a little bit better,
Yeah.
and put them in a playlist and they come up with other artists and there you go. It's
Yeah.
just you got to kind of force the blending of genres because if
Yeah.
you keep it separate, you're never going to grow your fan base.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like, obviously, as I've stated before, I've supported people like Onyx and Mob Deep and things like that, Obi Trice, and yeah, that's obviously still within the hip hop realm, and it's cool. Like what you're saying, it's good to know that that works because obviously when you're doing these support slots, you're just like, does it work? Do they ever check you out? They're just here for the main act, really, and that's kind of sometimes what it is. But it's good to know, like what you're saying, sometimes it does work where you can kind of gain a few supporters or people that actually like your stuff and vibe with your stuff from that. But even just what you said with blending like the two genres, so like the 2 day mini festival that we were trying to set up with Open Play Initiative, that's what the plan was with that festival. So like the first half of each day, so like for instance, the first half would be like a rock, more indie kind of vibe, and then the second part of the day would be more like reggae, and then the third part would be more like hip hop, and then the next day would be more like rock and stuff like that. So yeah, that was really aimed towards kind of blending all those different genres together. And even like when I've done gigs myself, I always kind of try and help make the poetry and the spoken word scene kind of involved with it. So I'll kind of put poets on and stuff like that, and mix them with the hip hop community because it is very similar and stuff like that. And I think yeah, it's definitely merging the two together is a good point, and kind of just with the tour that I've been doing, that's kind of what I've been trying to do myself. Like just go to other places, go to other scenes, and kind of merge what I'm doing with them together. So the last gig that I put on up here was the Northeast Takeover, where we got some rappers, singer songwriters, and stuff from Newcastle up here to perform, and then we put on a gig with some Newcastle, some Scottish, and just merged that together, and that went well. And then the next one that I'm doing is going to be like a Leicester meets Glasgow gig. So on the 3rd of July, yeah, we're gonna be doing that. So yeah, that's kind of the way I've been trying to do it myself. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's definitely good food for thought what you said there.
Well, I think if you do commercials or you do social media um, commercials, I don't know how you promote your events, but if you could make kind of upfront on the promotion,
Yeah.
if you have, say, punk rock bands and hip hop artists at the event, if you could say, find a way to say that even though they're two different genres,
Yeah.
they're saying the exact same thing.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
different in a different way.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
you would the interest of the hip hop crowd that doesn't necessarily listen to punk rock, but they might
Yeah.
say, you know what, let me give these guys a chance if they're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
If you kind of promote it to where you're blending the genres constantly,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
think
think.
it would draw a bigger crowd. But
Yeah. Yeah.
let's talk about songwriting and your creative process. What usually comes first for you, the beat, the concept, or the lyric when you're writing a song?
Yeah, so myself, a lot of the time it'll be the beat first. So I'll hear the beat and then I'll hear the melody within the beat. Then I'll start writing a hook and I'll just go for there. So yeah, 9 times out of 10, 99% of the time, it's always the beat first, and especially with the All or Nothing, my debut album, like when I produced all of that myself. So I was just making the beat and then just kind of gone from there, shaping the song, and yeah, getting the hooks. Usually hooks first as well for me. I always write the hook first, and then that'll give me an idea of what concept and what I want the song to be about, and then I'll shape the verses from there and add a bridge and intros and stuff like that.
How much of your music is drawn from personal experiences?
Yeah, so all of it basically, everything that's on my debut album, which is surprisingly conveniently right next to me, and we've got it on physical CD. So if anybody is watching this and they want one, the only way you can get it is by contacting me to get a physical CD. So yeah, every single song on that is all like from past experiences and things that's happened to me, and like surprising, like the no surprisingly, but what I've realized after I made the album, like that album was made within the first like two two to three, like 1 to 2 years of me getting sober and stuff like that. So it was like an outload of loads of trauma and stuff like that as well. And it was like when I look back at the time when I made the album, I was just myself a lot, like isolating in my house, writing and recording everything myself and producing it. So that album kind of helped me get a lot of stuff out. And then in retrospect, when I kind of listen to it now, it just reminds me of like kind of like a dark time in my life, but not like so dark. Do you know what I mean? Just like a real learning curve time in my life as well, and like in my first property myself and first living by myself and things like that as well, man. So it's a real learning curve, and every single track is all real lived experiences and stuff like that as well, man. So yeah, near enough everything I write is real lived experience.
How do you stay inspired to create music?
Sorry, what was that?
How do you stay inspired to create
Okay.
music?
Yeah, so how I stay inspired to create music is just every song's different. It's never really the same. Like the beat might tell you to do something different, and songs can come in many different ways. So there might be something that you say in this interview, and it will just go into my head, and it'll be like, use that, and it will just be locked away. And then at some point when I'm writing, I might remember it and it might come up, or I can be on the bus and somebody will be talking, especially like very specific Glasgow words. So, like for instance, we have a word called boggin, and we would say that for like dirty. If something's really dirty, you'd be like, it's boggin. So somebody might just be on the bus having a conversation and they'll say a word like that, and I'll just be like, write that down, and I'll write it on my phone, and then I'll eventually use that. So loads of like local colloquialism, or if that's the right way of saying it, but local dialect and stuff like that really
Yeah.
inspire me a lot as well. And even just stories that maybe not necessarily my own story, but people around me and grandparents or cousins have went through, or people have went through this kind of stuff. That inspires me a lot to kind of write and keep going within my music.
How many unfinished songs do you have?
To be honest, I've not really got so many unfinished songs. I've got so much unreleased music, so I've probably got like 200 unreleased songs. Like, because when I was first getting sober and stuff like that, I was just doing songs after song. So some days I would just sit in the house all day and just write three songs a day, just keep writing, recording, and stuff like that as well. There is a few songs here and there that I'm waiting to get some big name features on, to be honest, as well. So yeah, they're the unfinished ones sitting waiting to get features from. So yeah, there is some unfinished songs here and there that I hope to show the people soon.
I was fixing to say you have that many unreleased songs that are completed and ready to go.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
just not out there.
Yeah, yeah. So the problem with me is like you can't just release like there's a rapper over here called Wiley, right? And he had 300 songs, and one time he couldn't get a record deal, so he just leaked 300 of his songs, and like that's just mad. But the thing with me, it's like I like having songs, and then I figure out what to do with them. So I'm like, okay, this 10, like I've got like 12 reggae songs that's like for a reggae album. Then I've got like 12 boom bap songs that are for a boom bap album. And then I've got, do you know what I mean? So different kind of genres, and I can cross over genres if I really want to make like a album like that as well. But I kind of think for myself, even with my debut album, it's like I have to do everything in sections because I don't want to just do what Wiley done, leak 300 songs, and then that's 300 things that you've not promoted correctly. That's 300 things that could have been a number one song, or they could have been way better than what it was, and I don't want to neglect the songs. So obviously for the debut album, Here All or Nothing, I've got 4 videos from this, and I've been very conscious of trying to promote it properly and try to give it the time for people to like digest it and listen to it and stuff like that. So my fear before I dropped the album was like it falling on deaf ears basically and nobody listening to it. Do you know what I mean? So I think like it's been out for close to a year now and I've promoted it properly. The only way you can hear it is Bandcamp. So the real people that really want to listen to it can listen to it. And I think that's the reason why I've got so much unreleased music, because I just kind of I have them and then I have plans for them. So like, yeah, I'll maybe drop this album after the first one and then maybe drop this after the second one and things like that.
So, in your mind, how long should you wait between albums to drop a new?
But
I
for
mean, if you,
myself,
yeah,
I think it should be like every year. So there's like Busy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony. He drops an album every single year on his birthday, and I kind of just want to steal that idea and do it for do it for myself. Do you know what I mean? Because like we just spoke about, there's enough music to do that. Do you know what I mean? I just don't want to put like crap music out there as well, and I don't want to have to be rushing to put an album out or songs out that I regret, because I feel quite lucky up to my career now where I've never just rushed and put stuff out. There was like an era of Scottish hip hop where everybody was doing freestyle videos and they were jumping on channels and just doing content and songs that weren't always the best songs. Do you know what I mean? So I'm very conscious of that as well. But yeah, I think like every year you could release an album and then just within that year, 12 months in the year, you just drop the single every month from that. And then you just go there. It's just like a never ending kind of cycle. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
people have different views on that as well, because obviously it's good to have a break and then go away and focus on other things as well. Same with touring and gigging. It's like some of these bigger artists are just on a never ending tour because it's the way they make money in it.
yeah. What tools or instruments are essential for your creative process?
Uh, it's pretty minimalistic to be honest for me. Like, so usually I just start off with like a beat that's usually on my phone, and then I can write on my notes on my phone as well. And that's pretty much all I need until I'm going to the studio. Then, like my setup's pretty basic. So for my setup, I've just got a laptop, a mic, an interface, a pair of headphones, and my phone, and that's basically all I need. So that's even for other people that are there watching this. They might not be rappers or musicians. You don't need all the fancy stuff, man. You just need to start somewhere, and you can go from there. Even now, like even though I've got a studio and stuff, and I go to other people's to record quite frequently, every single song that I do, I'll just play the beat from the laptop and I'll grab my phone and I'll just rap into the phone to learn it. Like I'll write all the lyrics down. I just hold the phone, looking at the phone, play the beat from the computer, and just record it on my phone as a note with the beat playing in the background. And then like when I'm on the bus going to the studio, I'll just repeatedly listen to the song in my headphones. And then by the time I get to the studio, I usually have it locked in my brain. So I don't need to look at the phone, don't need to look at the paper, because you don't really want it to be robotic or like people to like know it's been read off a phone or it's been
Yeah,
read
yeah,
off a
yeah,
piece of paper. You want to just
yeah,
be able to just go there. And like I've heard the stories of Michael Jackson, like when he was in the studio recording, like he would have to bring like different t-shirts and stuff because he'd just be sweating, like jumping about and just dancing in the studio basically, because even lots of reggae artists are like that as well, man, because sometimes the song requires that for you to be giving it all your energy if it's emotional or aggressive song, and some songs are more chill. But yeah, that's another reason as well. So yeah, my setup and equipment is pretty minimalistic, and yeah, that's the way I like to roll.
How big a role does mental health play in your music creation?
Yeah, I think it plays a pretty big role. Like I'm not always conscious of it, to be honest, because like I'm just doing music and I just enjoy it and just go with the energy. But I think it is very therapeutic for mental health to be doing music, because you just kind of shut off from all your problems for a while. Even if you're writing like a sad or depressing song, you're not thinking about things that are happening in your actual life, or like I've got an appointment or I've got to do this other thing that is stressful. Even if you're writing a sad song or whatever, it's kind of taking your attention away from the things that might be immediate that's happening in your life. So it's very therapeutic. It's very good for mental health. And one of the reasons that I go so hard on the music as well is like I want to reach the people that are like me and reach the people that have been homeless and they've had kind of like anxiety issues and they've been depressed and they've felt suicidal and stuff like that. And that's one reason why I go so hard on the music and all the videos and stuff like that I've released as well, because I want to eventually find the people that are like me and then give them hope through the music, the same way that these people gave me hope and inspiration when I was kind of coming up at a pivotal moment in my life. I would love to kind of return that. And it's kind of came full circle in many different ways, because now I go out into like high schools and I do workshops with young people. I was just out doing one in Edinburgh on Tuesday. The group had their graduation, so yeah, it kind of took them through that stage of learning a song with different instruments, and then they were evolved and they done that at a graduation in front of their parents and stuff like that. So it's really good to do it that way and give back. And it's surprising because they teach you as much as you teach them, and because they're so just getting into it, you can kind of see the spark that's still in them, and it just reminds you of why you started doing it, and like takes the pressure away of, like, sometimes there's pressure of music, like if you buy 50 CDs that you need to make money back that you spent in the CDs, or if you do a gig, it has to be an amazing gig. So there's stress and, do you know what I mean, interviews, and you don't want to say the wrong thing. So sometimes these things can be stressful, but it's doing things like that kind of brings it back to me and just be like, remember, you do it for the love. Even like going to the studio earlier on today, it was raining, I was soaked, it was like trying to get there, buses were cancelled, trains were cancelled. But sometimes I just laugh to myself and just be like, I love this, man. I love, like, even just all those wee parts of it. You need to love all those wee parts of it, even like your studio breaking, or, you know what I mean, like getting caught in the rain and all these kind of things, man. You need to learn to love it, because it is all a part of the music industry, and like, and even like from making single covers and all these kind of things. You might not like it at the start, but eventually you learn to like it, because it's still a creative way and it's a creative outlet that you can use. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think mental health in the arts in Scotland is addressed properly?
Uh, sometimes I think, yeah, maybe people can be using it for the wrong things as well sometimes. So people might be getting funding saying it's for mental health when it's not really for that, or people are playing on certain things to get certain things as well. You know how it is within
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
music
Yeah. Yeah.
industry and stuff. It's not always represented in the right way. Do you know what I mean? So you've got somebody like myself, fully independent, never taking nothing from any of these funders, that is just grafting it out, and I'm kind of like, do you know what I mean? I'm representing the real people, instead of there's other people that are getting this and they're not really representing it in the right way. Do you know what I mean? And even just on the mental health note, like my latest song, Never Again, and the video of that, which is out right now. So if anybody wants to go and watch that, you can watch it. That's all about mental health, and basically within that video, I commit suicide in that video. So every single video that I've had off of the All or Nothing album, it's been like a day in somebody's life. So the first video I done, I was homeless. It's called Can I Forget. The second one that I done is called All or Nothing, and that's set in the day before the Can I Forget video. The third video is the video that we started with. It's called Cold Stare, and that's all about domestic violence from the male's perspective, because it doesn't really get talked about a lot. Obviously, domestic violence from any side is a bad thing, but I wanted to kind of tell my story of my experiences with domestic violence happening to the male, because it doesn't really get talked about. So I wanted to kind of shine some light on that. And then, yeah, the fourth video that I've got right now is that it's the end of all those videos. It kind of ties all those videos in, and I basically, yeah, commit suicide in the video. But with all these videos, I'm going to put them all together and play them one after another, and I'm going to go to different community centres around the UK, and I'm going to screen the video all as one piece, and just tell, like, and talk about some of the issues that I discuss in these videos. So the main reason for me to do the videos, it's all kind of about trying to break down stereotypes. So the Can't Forget one's all about being homeless, and when people walk by somebody that's homeless in the street, a lot of the time they think it's their own fault, they've done it to themselves, they're addicted to drugs, blah, blah, blah. But within my own circumstances of being homeless, it was nothing like that. It was just kind of a breakdown with the family relationship, and the family unit kind of fell apart. And then, yeah, I just ended up homeless that way. Do you know what I mean? So me doing that video was kind of try to challenge those stereotypes that people might think, and just get the conversation going within different pockets of the communities that are across the UK, and kind of challenge people's belief systems and stereotypical ways that they see homeless people. And then for the second one that I done, which is the title track off the album called All or Nothing, that's all about me and my friend. I'm going about all the full time in the video try to sell these CDs, and nobody's buying the CDs, but my friend's going about in the full video, and he's selling illicit substances, and he's making all the sales, and people are buying off him, but nobody's buying off me, somebody that's trying to do it right, try to do positive stuff. And that's very prevalent within, like, for example, you want to create a business, nobody really, you know what I mean, wants to help you and stuff like that. But maybe if you're selling illicit substances, people would be, you know what I mean? Or if you're trying to do something negative, then even the same with social media, you put out a post where it's all good, nobody likes it. You put out a post of you getting arrested or something, everybody likes it. Do you know what I mean? So it's very reminiscent of that. But that video for me is all about trying to challenge stereotypes of what people think about people from, you would call them the projects, but we call them the schemes. So even like hip hop in general, the way people dress, baggy clothes, hats, and stuff like that, people have stereotypes when they see these kinds of people. And in Glasgow, like the style of the people like myself is like tracksuit, hat, stuff like that. Over here, they call us NEDs, so that stands for non-educated delinquent. And yeah, in England, they call them chavs, and it's basically, it's like a derogatory term of somebody that's like undereducated, and the way they dress and stuff like that. I know I'm going off in a bit of a tangent here, but we'll get to we'll get to the point. But the All or Nothing videos kind of try to challenge those stereotypes, because obviously me and my friend both look the same, and we dress the same in the video and stuff like that. One's trying to do the right thing, and one's no try to do the right thing. And then the third video, like I said, called Stare, I saw about toxic relationships in general. So there's loads of things that she's doing in that video. There, she's like tracking me, and she's pouring water over me, and she's smashing glasses in the video and stuff like that. And even when I done that video, people are messaging me like, "Oh, the bit when she's pours the water over you, like that's so funny." And it's like, this just proved my point of nobody takes it serious if it's from the male's perspective. But if the roles were reversed and I was doing that to the female, everybody would be like, "Yo, he's so bad," and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's just like another wee kind of thing that I got from when I done the video, and when I put it out there, the reactions of it wasn't really as what I expected. Do you know what I mean? I expected different reactions, so maybe it wasn't took as serious, and maybe it wasn't portrayed properly that much within the video. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of touch on those topics. And then obviously the fourth video that I done, it's all just about mental health. So that's like still carries on from the Can't Forget theme, where I'm homeless in that video. I'm walking about the streets, the security guard moves me on. I ended up bumping into a police officer. He arrests me. I go to the jail, and then I get out. And then yeah, you need to watch the video to see how it ends. Do you know what I mean? But like I said, put all those videos together, play them one after another. It's kind of like a short film of 1 week in somebody's life, and how that could easily be you. That people's housing and their situations are not as secure as what people would like to think sometimes. You know what I mean? So just one missed rent payment, or one missed car payment, that could be you. But I kind of want to just get the conversation started with those videos, and after I kind of showcase them in different parts of the UK, I just want to have some guest speakers up there as well to talk about these issues, and just propose some different ways on how we can deal with them, and then just do like a little gig to accompany it as well, and yeah, just get the conversation going.
Out of the videos and the songs you've mentioned, which one is your most vulnerable song?
Probably Can't Forget. Like, so that video, like my real mum's actual in the video, and like that's basically reenacting stuff that happened like real life. Do you know what I mean? It's like she flings me at the house and stuff like that, and that kind of happened like that. Do you know what I mean? So that's like my most vulnerable song, but kind of like when I was doing it, I didn't think of that. I was just like getting a song and doing a video, and then I put it out, and people were like, "Oh, that's so brave of you to do that and be so vulnerable." But it's like I don't see it as that. I just see it as like just putting out songs and stuff like that. I don't really overthink stuff a lot of the time. Do you know? I just go stuff and just do stuff, and then like kind of think about it in the end. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's like my most vulnerable song. And for that song, like I went back to some of the places that I slept while I was homeless and some of the doorways. And I shot a video there, do you know what I mean? And then for the new video, I actually reenacted a scene. So the video starts with me getting woken up and a security guard telling me to leave because I was sleeping in a doorway. That actually happened in real life, do you know what I mean? So all these videos, I'm reenacting things that are from my real experience, do you know what I mean? It feels surreal to go back to these places and shoot videos there and speak about my story and all that kind of stuff. But like, I'm never doing it for any like kind of sympathy or stuff like that. I'm just, like I said before, I'm trying to reach the people that can maybe kind of be inspired by this. I'm never out there like, I used to be homeless and that. Like, I'm doing okay now. Do you know what I mean? I'm very fortunate to kind of have an okay life and do the things that I love, doing gigs and just doing this and getting to meet people like yourself. I'm very fortunate and doing different workshops with different kinds of young people and working and having my own job and stuff. So yeah, it's never any kind of sympathy. It's just putting out there and talking about my experience. You know what I mean?
What is the easiest emotion for you to write about?
So yeah, it's probably like sad. Sad emotions are the easiest, to be honest. They just come out easy. And I think for myself in general, it's like it's hard sometimes to write an easy song. So if even like relationship songs are really easy to write about, like somebody broke your heart and stuff like that. Do you know, like country is known for that. Do you know what I mean? Like
Right,
she
right.
broke my heart and she took the dug and she took my check and this and that. Do you know what I mean? So I think
She
yes,
took my truck, took my dog, and broke my heart.
that's exactly what it is.
And
That's
somebody
I'll
and somebody's in jail.
yeah, exactly. I'll be saving those for later, man. I'm secretly taking notes here, do you know what I mean? So I can make a few of
Right.
these stuff myself. But yeah, that exact same kind of stuff is probably the most easiest thing for me to write about.
All right. Well, we're up against the clock for this episode, and I've really enjoyed this conversation. And I have so many more questions, but they're just can't squeeze them into this episode. So,
Yeah.
where can people find out more about you and what you got going on?
Yeah, so they can follow me on Instagram. It's at jaylee_CCTV. So that's at JAYLEE_CCTV. And yeah, you can watch all those videos that we spoke about within this interview as well on Jaylee Music YouTube channel. So all those videos that we discussed are there. Like I said, they're all individual stories and you can follow along with the stories and stuff like that. I've also got another YouTube channel called Jaylee CCTV, the same as the Instagram, and that's got all my tour vlogs on that as well. So you can, if you've never been to places like Manchester or Leicester or London, you can watch those tour vlogs and you can see me going to these places and you can see what they look like and the big red buses of London and all that kind of stuff. And also, like I said, the debut album, All or Nothing. If you want a copy, just message me on Instagram and I can send it to anywhere in the world for you as well. So, yeah.
All right. Well, I like to end all my interviews the exact same way. So, I'm going to go ahead and ask, what are two questions you wished I would ask in this interview that I didn't? And what are the answers to those questions?
Okay, good question. So, maybe one of the ones that you could have asked, like what my most favorite gig has been played and attended. So there's a really iconic venue here in Glasgow called the Barrowlands, where it's an old market that they used to they sell stuff at. But in there's like a ballroom, big massive performance room that holds like 2,000 people, and I performed there before, with Steg Junior Freestyle Master for their album The Freedom Frequency, and that was like one of my greatest ever gigs. Like I can still shut my eyes and see all the people and the sea of people, and honestly that'll be with me till the day I die, man. So can't thank them enough for that experiences. And also like performing with like the Colonel Mustard and the DJ on 5, they're like a band from Glasgow, performing with them in Lindisfarne Festival in front of like 2,000 people. That was really cool as well. And probably the greatest gig I've ever seen is probably just like Eminem. I've seen so many gigs to count them all, but Eminem definitely has to be up there for me.
All right. What's the second question?
Wow, that's a good one. Yeah, what's the name of the second album, innit? that would have been probably a great question. And yeah, I don't even really know the answer to that one. I'm toying with a few names, so I think obviously the name of the first album's All or Nothing. I think the name of the next album might be Now or Never, because I just kind of like the way they kind of sit next to each other as well. So yeah.
All right. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for making it to this part of the episode. If you enjoyed this video, if you'll leave me a thumbs up and a comment below. If you didn't enjoy this video, if you'll leave me a comment below and let me know why. And if there are any questions you would like me to ask Mr. J. Lee on our next interview, you can leave me a comment below and I'll see if I can squeeze them in. All right. Well, Mr. J. Lee, I enjoyed this.
Bro.
Cheers.
Thank you.
I'm not even surprised. Lies, I can see it in your eyes. Pain after pain, no, I'm not even surprised. I don't want you anymore, so you can say what you want, but I don't care. I see the lies in your cold stare. I know what it is, no more than aware. I don't want you anymore, so you can say what you want, but I don't care. I see the lies in your cold stare. I know what it is, no more than aware.